The official pick is in.
What's up, Pittsburgh? I just want to say it's awesome to be back in my college hometown. It was an honor to play here for 4 years, and I just want to thank the 49ers for this opportunity. I want to give a shout out to the 49er faithful, the best fans in the NFL. With the 33rd pick in the 2026 NFL Draft, the San Francisco 49ers select Stribbling, wide receiver, Ole Miss.
Get used to seeing this. You look at his bio, you see Washington State, Oklahoma State, and then Ole Miss. This is the new age of college football with guys bouncing all around. You guys said wide receiver. That's exactly what the Niners have decided to do.
Yeah, it was going to be wide receiver. They didn't decide to go with Denzel Boston, who didn't run a 40. Instead, they went with a guy who ran a fast 40. And what really stood out is he ran a really fast 10-yard split. The reason that's important, it tells you about his initial acceleration, his acceleration 1 and his acceleration 2, as they call it. And it's an ability to blow by press coverage. If he beats you, he can get on top of you, he can stack you, and now all of a sudden you've got a vertical window that's opened up. So this is a really interesting vertical player. There's some flashes when you watch him on tape where you say, man, he looks like a first-round talent at times. And other times looks more like a third-rounder. But I think San Francisco's betting on the flashes here.
This is San Francisco acknowledging the biggest issue that they've had in the last couple of years. When teams lined up and locked up and played press man-to-man, they had no answer. They've completely made over their wide receiver core. Christian Kirk, Mike Evans, now you have Stribbling coming over. You still have Pretty Ricky Pearsall on the outside, but he's oft injured. They have 3 guys that they can line up and play with, and they moved on from Jennings. This is a new and improved version of the San Francisco 49ers, and I would anticipate them making a move at a tight end at some point in the day.
And the other thing, speaking to the injuries, he plays all 3 wide receiver spots. Yeah. So if you have injuries, you can slide him wherever you need him. That's kind of an underrated thing, but to teams, it's very important because when you have an injury, you have a guy who can slide from Z over to X if he needs to, dump down inside. Just gives you more versatility and allows your roster to make more sense when there's injuries.
With the 34th pick in the 2026 NFL Draft, the Arizona Cardinals select Chase Bisontis, guard, Texas A&M.
You know, we do so many mocks. If I am not mistaken, Bucky, Bisontis is the guy that you had on 4.0, your last one ahead of the draft a couple days ago.
Yeah, but this is exactly where we talk about these guys going. They go through the process. We talked about top of the second round might be when the run on guards go. I love Bisontis on tape. When I first looked at him, I was like, man, this dude is a technical marvel when it comes to his ability to short set, jump guys at the line of scrimmage, and then finish. His technique, his savvy is exactly what you want if you're a coach. And if we're the Arizona Cardinals, we talk about jump starting this offense, we go and get a big-time running back in Jeremiah Love. And then we get a guy that is sound and solid at the point of attack. At Bisontis, much improved offensive unit when we think about LaFleur taking over this team.
Really physical with his double teams, is able to displace defenders. Like he's one of those gap scheme type of guards that, there's not much of a difference between Venga's in his own category. Well, a lot of people feel like that. I feel like Bisontis and Pregnon deserve to be talked about with him, and Keelan Rutledge just a little bit behind those 2 guys. I think it's 4 really good guards in this year's draft, and this is one of them. He's got shorter arms, or I think he maybe goes in the first round, but it doesn't really show up on tape. It doesn't seem to bother him much. And Bucky alluded to his technique, and he's very technically sound with his hands. And you've got to be.
Oh, I like this.
Oh, he's also.
Oh, I like this.
He's also able to.
Let's do this squat.
Get this up and get.
The deep squat.
Wow.
Boy, my knees creaking right now. Just and then we double up.
One more.
Oh, one more.
Yeah.
Whoa.
With the 35th pick in the 2016 draft, the Buffalo Bills select linebacker T.J. Parker from Clemson.
All right, so T.J. Parker, an opportunity to try to flex with Bills Mafia. Pretty good performer in the ACC for a Clemson team that did underachieve.
Yeah, they did underachieve, but he is a very talented player. And you go back and watch the 2024 tape, you're far more impressed than what you saw last season. This, to me, is signaling the shift that they're making defensively with Jim Leonard coming on board, going to a 3-4 scheme. Sometimes you need some heavy-handed guys on the edge. And even though they're 3-4 in semantics, they still need a heavy-handed guy that can play. And with Parker, you have someone not only can play on the edges, but maybe he's that heavy 5 technique that plays that defensive end role. I love him coming on board with the Buffalo Bills. The Buffalo Bills need to get better on defense. He can help them as they seek to find a way to get back into title contention.
Yeah, he can't, he is, he's a big boy now. He's a player who I think can add more weight, as Bucky alluded to, and they call him linebacker. I mean, he'll be an edge, 3-4. He can line up outside if he needs to, a little wider. He can line up tighter to the line of scrimmage. What you see on tape, and Bucky can attest to this, especially in 24, that long arm rush, where as soon as he sticks you with that long arm rush, he is going to drive most tackles into the pocket. The problem is they figured him out this year that this was his go-to, and they really set up to stop that. So he's going to have to add something to his arsenal and mix things up so that he's not as predictable.
I'm joined by Billy Miller, original Houston Texan. Scored the first touchdown for the Texans, both in preseason and regular seasons. Quite a record. With the 36th pick in the 2026 NFL Draft, the Houston Texans select Caden McDonald, defensive tackle, Ohio State.
Lance, you called it before it happened, and you were exactly right.
Well, as soon as I saw him trade, Nick loves doing this. It was just a matter of which defensive tackle was it going to be, Kristen Miller, Caden McDonald. My highest rated is Caden McDonald across the board, and it's real simple. He's just 21, just turned 21 years old. You can see the tears and the tears of joy. This is just the beginning. Now we got to get down to work, but very happy. He goes to a great spot. Just an absolutely great spot with D'Amico Ryans, with Rod Wright, formerly a University of Texas defensive lineman, who's now the defensive line coach. They've got some warriors there in the trenches for him to learn from. And he's only 21. He just turned 21. And I think the maturity level that the maturity he's going to have around him is going to help him grow up and become a pro really, really quickly. I think that's something very underrated about this Texans defense, too, is the leadership there.
You talk about the leadership. How about the maturity? Had a disappointing night last night. He's back in the green room, doesn't hear his name called, but comes back the next day, shows up. And I'm going to say this, and I see it because I see the Texans twice a year when I'm in Jacksonville. This defense they have down in Houston is absolutely salty. And he has that mentality that fits in. And you put this big fella inside of William Anderson Jr., you have Daniil Hunter, you have Azeez El-Shahir. They're a bunch of dogs.
Yeah.
And he fits in. And I've just seen guys, players surrounded by those guys. They go to a different level. This is a great pick for the Houston Texans.
You're expected on that defense to play hard every single snap. He's a rotational defensive lineman now, right? So Sheldon Rankins, you got other defensive linemen who are going to be there, and it's simply going to be a matter of play as hard as you can for your 6-7 straight snaps. We'll come get you, and then you're going to come back. But you cannot not play as hard as you can. It's just the standard has been set. The standard's been set.
And when you're field level watching them play, they play
violent
defense at a different clip.
Yeah.
I just love watching the emotion here. And, Buck, you made reference to it. Disappointed night number one. You see the tears of joy today. 21 years of age. Kind of a game record here. Just in terms of, you guys have loved up this team's defense, and McDonald obviously is going to be a key component for years to come for this Houston Texans team. But just analyze the tape. What pops the most?
Strength, power, physicality, violence, all those things that you want to see from a guy up front. He is a run stopper. And the reason why the Texans need that in the middle, because they only want to rush 4. They are not a team that employs a bunch of blitzes. They're going to line up with 4 guys, and they're going to say, our 4 guys are going to whip your 4. And if they get a stop on first down, then you got to worry about Daniil Hunter and Will Anderson going crazy. They need him inside to make sure they can create those long yardage situations.
Yeah, and this is kind of a new pick for them because they typically have guys who are more upfield. And I felt like, I've always felt like they would really do well to get a thicker, more run-stopping defensive tackle. And that's exactly what what Caden McDonald is. He can eat blocks. He can keep your linebackers free if you need him to do that. If he gets singled up on a center, he's going to stack and shed. Like, he's got pretty good length, and he's got good upper body power. So he's just going to stand your center up and toss him aside. Just play peekaboo, wait for the runner in either A gap, and they're gone. So really good pick for the Texans.
I'm joined here by the great O.C. Igmanosen. O.C. played for the Giants. What a great man he is. With the 37th pick in the 2026 NFL Draft, the New York Giants select Colton Hood, defensive back, Tennessee. Way to go, Colton.
Damn, OC was a game wrecker back in the day. Good to see him out on that stage with Commissioner Goodell. Colton Hood, we started our coverage today on Draft Center saying there are guys that we had mocked in the first round throughout this entire process. I felt like every mock draft live we did, guys, Colton Hood's name was there.
Yeah, he was one of the only corners. Like, we only had 2 corners going the first round. So now Colton Hood, he's going to be coveted because of Jermod McCoy, who's very, very talented but has a knee issue. If he's not considered on the board for teams in the early second or maybe even a second round or maybe even second day, Colton Hood's next up. So he figured to go pretty quick. And I tell you what, I really liked him on tape. The thing that stands out is he's extremely aggressive. And when you watch a guy in run support, I think that tells you their personality. So one of the first things you can see is how do they handle run support? And he does not shy away. He loves to come out and, there's not a bunch of arm tackling. He's going to chop you down. He's going to hit as hard as he can. He tries to make a point of, being as aggressive as he can on every single snap. Good mirror and match patience from press man corner with good physicality. I think the ball skills can get a little bit better, but I like that he's ascending.
So the big thing was when we had a chance to talk to him on Pat, he has a baseball background. So his ball skills, his instincts, and awareness are all intact.
I would be remiss without bringing up the late, great Willie Brown when he would tell all of you to remember your mother on Mother's Day. This is coming right up. All you guys, take her to dinner, grab her some flowers, tell her you love her, and remind her that with the 38th pick in the 2026 NFL Draft, the Las Vegas Raiders select Trayden Stokes, defensive back, Arizona.
Well, Yammer, if your mom likes cornerback / safeties who can play on the back end, who can play in the nickel, and who have the ability to take the ball away with outrageous instincts, she's going to be pretty happy if she's a Raiders fan because she just got traded on Stokes. Stokes sat out all of last year, 24, with an ACL tear. Yeah. And one of the things I loved is I read a story and watched a video about how he just became a coach. He's like, I'm just going to coach this year. I'm going to coach. So he sat there and basically coached up the players on the sideline, in the locker room. That's the type of leadership you want. He's a little bit older prospect, Buck, 6 years in college. He's mature, he's a leader, and he's got football skills.
And he's really smart, because I tried to be on the 6-year plan, and I just couldn't figure out a way. They were kicking me out there, Buck.
No, look, 6-year player, but Lance talks about the leadership ability, the smarts, the instincts, and awareness. It shows up in his tape. And for the Raiders, we think about the Raiders and what they want to be. They want to be a much different, a vastly improved defense. And a lot of times it starts in the back end. Versatile player. We talk about being able to play multiple spots within that triangle. Nice pick for the Raiders at the top of the second round.
4 interceptions, team lead last year. He was a team captain, as you guys made reference to that leadership.
Team captain not once, not twice, 3-time team captain. That's pretty impressive.
And answered in the draft, certainly a deep quarterback room, but we'll find out which direction they go here.
Yo, hello. What's up, Pittsburgh? We are here to announce the 39th pick for my Cleveland Browns. With the 39th pick in the 2026 NFL Draft, the Cleveland Browns select Denzel Boston, wide receiver, Washington. Here we go, Brownie.
Wow, another wide receiver.
Yeah.
3rd time in the common draft era, a team has taken 2 wideouts in the top 40 of a draft. It's the first time in 30 years when the Jets did it back in '96, guys.
Yeah, and I like this pick a lot because he gives you an opportunity that he's kind of unique in the fact that, he's like an X who can run who can play the role of Z. Like, he's so good at getting down the field and winning when the ball's in the air, and I think that's a good definition right there. He's a power forward. He adjusts to the ball when it's in the air. He makes great body adjustments. He's got tremendous body control, and then his ability to win the catch space late and to own the catch space is really, really impressive. He's a very confident, very efficient mover with very strong hands.
Yeah, big body playmaker. Just a great job down in the red zone. Physicality shows up, ultra physical possession receiver. And as you think about the rebuilt Browns wide receiver core, Casey Concepcion being able to work the middle, being the slot receiver and that option, and then being able to put Denzel Boston on the outside, you can see where they're trying to go in terms of building this offense out.
Big playmaker, too. I'm talking about last two seasons, 20 touchdowns. He's got a nose for the end zone here.
Yeah, and there's some concerns that he didn't run a 40-yard dash, but it's funny because there's actually technology now on computer vision where teams can get your speed from the computer vision, so they kind of have a feel for how he's going to run anyway.
Kansas City getting ready for their pick. Remember, yesterday in round number 1, they moved up actually with the Cleveland Browns. Mansour Delane, who they took 6th overall, and then Peter Woods, the defensive tackle, 29th overall. Still some holes on this roster. Find out which direction they decide to go in right now.
Hello, Pittsburgh, and hail to Pitt. With the 40th pick in the 2026 NFL Draft, the Kansas City Chiefs select R. Mason Thomas, defensive end, Oklahoma.
So a Sooner off the board, guys. I feel like his name hasn't popped up a whole lot over the last couple of weeks on our shows.
No, but he is, right now, he's what I would call kind of a designated pass rusher. I think the question you have with him at 241 pounds is, can he hold up against the run? Not as worried about it right now. I just want somebody who can go affect the pocket, and that's something that he can do. And he has tremendous speed. He's a former running back in his background, and his ability, once he gets to the corner, his ability to turn and pivot and corner when tackles try to redirect him is really, really impressive. And that first step, Buck, man, it is a problem for bigger, slower tackles.
His ability to turn speed to power stands out. He is a guy that gets after it. When you watch this guy on tape, junkyard dog, the things that stand out to me, relentless effort, nonstop motor, the burst to finish. He plays at a high level, and I just think putting him alongside Chris Jones, allowing him to play opposite George Karlaftis, it's funny because he has some of those things that George Karlaftis has in terms of that energy. You can tell that Steve Spagnuolo has a type that he wants on the front line. He certainly fits that type.
You guys surprised, and I don't know where you guys had him on your guys' individual big boards, but I did see your rankings. Howell you had in front of him. You surprised we didn't see his name?
Man, look, I think the thing with Howell, like people talk about the shorter arms, like maybe that plays a part in it. I love Howell. And, once we get into the second round, things kind of get flipped up, and beauty's in the eye of the beholder.
With the 41st pick in the 2026 NFL Draft, the Cincinnati Bengals select Cassius Howell, defensive end, Texas A&M.
All right, so we just name-checked him. We didn't know when he would come off the board, and I know for individually you guys liked Howell, maybe just a smidge better personally than you did Thomas, but we're talking about one spot difference here.
Yeah, I had a big grade on Cassius Howell. I really liked him. I'm sitting here looking at my grade. I got a pretty big first-round grade.
And you're a tough grader.
I love the speed.
You got to bring an apple to
I like the
Professor
speed and
Brooks'
quickness.
class.
Yeah, look, man, it's not easy to get an A in my class, but speed rusher, dip and rip, first-step quickness, explosive when it comes to the inside move, has a shake and bake, a little Euro step that, your boy Carmelo every now and then could throw that out there. But slip inside, he can turn speed to power. He is effective and disruptive. I know people talk about the arm length. This one is a production pick. This is the Cincinnati Bengals saying, yeah, I understand all those prototypes. The production states otherwise. They've tried to do it with Shamar Stewart and some other guys. This is one that he gets to the paint. He knows how to get the quarterback down.
Yeah, he's got go-to moves. Like, he already knows how he wants to get you with the rush plan. And the other thing that stands out is this is 3 straight years. Now, he was at Marshall previously, but 3 straight years of pressure production. So getting inside the pocket is something he does and has done on a regular basis for 3 years.
with the 42nd pick in the 2026 NFL Draft, the New Orleans Saints select Christian Miller, D tackle, Georgia.
Yeah, good pick. Defensive tackle who, it's kind of a no-nonsense pick right here. What you see is what you get. He's physical right there on the initial stages. He's going to hit you with a heavy punch. He's got heavy hands. And then he just likes to kind of slide and watch what the running back, he'll do some, kind of a peekaboo, read and react type of defender for Georgia. They've had, such a huge number of quality defensive linemen come out of Georgia over the last 5 years. And so he's seen other guys who can really get it done. And he's played against kind of some rugged guards and centers over the last few years. If you look at Georgia's offensive line over the last 2 or 3 years, there's guys who translated into the NFL and who are starters right now. So he's faced off against good competition, not just in the SEC, but in practice day to day. He's tough. He's battle-tested, kind of a no-fuss player, though. I mean, you're not going to get a lot of flashy production, I don't think, from him. He's there to occupy blocks and to not allow you to do what you want to do as an offensive player.
All right, hello everyone, football fans out there. With the 43rd pick in the 2026 NFL Draft, the Miami Dolphins select Jacob Rodriguez, linebacker, Texas Tech.
Yes, sir. So, yeah, right. I personally get offended when people call it the Underwear Olympics and not the respect it deserves, the combine, the scouting combine. And I'll tell you why. It's because sometimes, for some guys it doesn't matter as much, but for other people like Jacob Rodriguez, it sends him skyrocketing. The question, Bucky, was, well, how athletic is he? Like, what kind of... So he ran a 4.57, had a 38.5-inch vert, a 10.1 broad jump, and ran a 6.90 three-cone. And I'm telling you right now, those are tremendous numbers for a linebacker. And all of a sudden, once teams saw that, boom, big check mark on the athletic box. The production box is there. And you know what? One of my favorite things about him is this kind of tells you who he is. 13 forced fumbles in his career, 7 this year, using the peanut what, Bucky?
Peanut punch.
Peanut punch, made famous by the great Charles Peanut Tillman. And there's a linebacker we'll see from Buffalo maybe later on day 3 who's set the all-time record for forced fumbles. But it's an art, it's a skill. And right there.
Yeah, right there. Get it out.
Right there.
Get it out.
And he knows how to do it. And, he turns you over. He's really, really instinctive in coverage. For being a short-arm player, he has the ability to really expand his range in what he does as a tackler and also in coverage, takes the ball away. He's just he reminds me in some ways, and I hate to say it, and it's probably a Texas Tech thing, but a little bit of Zach Thomas. And interesting because he's going to the Dolphins, but you don't think a whole lot about him. You see him like, he's not that impressive. And before you know it, he's racking up high scores on the tackle count. He's hitting all the impact totals. That's what Jacob Rodriguez is. Good football player who has an impact on games, and he's much more than that crazy thick mustache he has. That's not just a gimmick, Yammer.
A little throwback, which we like. The Detroit Lions, by the way, on the clock. We showed you the trade details with the New York Jets. Mike Garafolo had it, so Lions clearly like someone on the board. We find out exactly who that is.
What up, though, Pittsburgh? With the 44th pick in the 2026 NFL Draft, the Detroit Lions select Derek Moore, defensive end, Michigan.
All right, Aiden Hutchinson, here we go. He's got to be smiling. We got another Michigan man that's going to be able to help him out, go wreak havoc on quarterbacks.
Really worried about what they're going to show here for Markel Bell from Miami. I got a feeling we're going to see Senior Bowl tape. I don't know this for a fact, but I got a feeling we're going to see Senior Bowl tape where Miami's Markel Bell tries to go up against the preeminent bull rusher in this draft. And Derek Moore has traits galore. He had great production last year. He just doesn't, the motor doesn't, here, no, not yet. It's about to come.
Boy.
But it's coming.
No, this is one of them. This is one of them because he is a bully now. He's way, way strong. And there it is. Oh, my goodness. I knew we were going to do that. And Markel hasn't been drafted yet.
Pittsburgh, this the hospitality y'all got for your boy? This the hospitality y'all got for your boy? Don't worry. Because on behalf of me, my son, these wonderful young ladies, and all the Flock Nation. We got a special message for y'all, Pittsburgh.
Steelers still suck!
Yeah! And we bout that. You got a problem with that, come see me. Big trust, Flock Nation in the flesh. Yes, sir. All right, no, for real. I'd like to give a special shout out to these young women standing alongside me tonight who have been playing flag football at the high school level in Maryland. Thanks to the efforts from my Baltimore Ravens and the MPSSAA, they launched a program in 2023 that can make this day possible. They are here today celebrating a state sanction that passed for high school girls flag football in Maryland, officially making it a state championship sport. Congratulations. And with the 45th pick in the 2026 NFL Draft, the Baltimore Ravens select Zion Young, linebacker, Missouri. Let's go.
Get in your grill, Buck.
I mean, you know what? You know how we all have friends, and they always have like a new girlfriend, and you already know what the girlfriend's gonna look like when she shows up because they have a type. That's the Baltimore Ravens. When the Baltimore Ravens draft a defensive end,
I was like, where are you going with
you
this?
already know what type it is.
Looks like a Raven.
You know, I mean, he looks just like a Raven. Like they always look like. He's long, he's athletic, he's physical. He has some nasty to him when it comes to his toughness and temperament, and he is going to wear you out over time. Physical at the point of attack. He just plays like these Ravens have always played, going all the way back to Sizzle and those other guys, Perez.
Another one.
Peter Bowen. This is what they do. They run through you, they don't go around you, and he is going to be another guy that they throw into that rotation with Jesse Minter trying to find ways to create one-on-one opportunities for him.
I've told this story, Yammer, when I think I told it maybe on Path to the Draft, maybe Mock Draft Live, can't remember, but I talked to the Missouri offensive line coach, Brandon Jones, about Keegan Trost, who's an offensive lineman we'll see on day 3 probably. And I asked about him, and he said he went up against Zion every day, and Zion will not give him, he just won't give anybody a break. Every snap is the Super Bowl. Every snap's a national championship. And you love that. And he said, and it was an iron sharpen iron situation where he had to get better because Zion competes like that. He loves to talk, but it's in a good way. He got a standing ovation at the SEC Media Days. People loved him so much.
All right, y'all, I'm gonna take off my host hat and put on my Bucks hat. How about that? All right, the Bucks with the 46th pick of the 2026 NFL Draft. And I am very, very happy to say this because I might make some Philadelphia fans a little bit upset. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers select Josiah Trotter, linebacker, Missouri.
So the Trotter family, boy, it is in their DNA, man. You talk about his brother, you talk about his dad, both of these guys sort of NFL stars. Meanwhile, Trotter, another kid out of Missouri who's got an opportunity to thrive on Sundays.
Man, it's something else, man. I just love when these guys start the family business. And the family business there is we're going to play linebacker. We're going to play it at a high level because Daddy was a monster playing for a long time in Philadelphia, and he has passed it on to his sons. Josiah Trotter, great instincts, nice awareness, physicality as an old school downhill linebacker that can thump. He does these throwback things that you see on tape. I just knew when I talked to Todd Bowles, I talked to him early in the offseason. He just talked about, look, man, there are linebackers in this draft. We got to be able to get one. We got to get edge players. You just know they're going to continue to check all the boxes until they fix this defense.
On my notes, I just had the alpha energy who's always into something. And he did it right there, just like his dad. His dad's a little bigger.
Yeah.
But he's still growing. I mean, he's still a young.
Got to trade the details from Mike Garafolo. The Colts traded 47 and 249, which means the Pittsburgh Steelers give up 53, 135, and 237. They are now officially on the clock. This goes back to that aggressiveness, right? Like, if there's a guy that's on your draft board, you got an opportunity to go and get him. Go and get your guy. No matter who it is, you know the cheers are going to be significantly loud. Host city Pittsburgh has delivered an awesome venue thus far. Day number 1, over 300,000 fans, just shy of that today on day number 2. We'll find out who those terrible towels will be waving for as we get the pick for the Steelers.
Good evening, everybody. With the 47th pick in the 2026 NFL Draft, the Pittsburgh Steelers select
Jeremy Bernard, Alabama.
So yesterday, they had an opportunity. Well, I shouldn't say they had an opportunity. They thought they were going to go and get McNeil-Warren, the wide receiver out of USC. It didn't happen. He's Philadelphia bound, but it's all good. You get an Alabama wide receiver who led the team in receptions 2 seasons.
Yeah, he led the team in receptions, and what I love about him is he stood in for Ryan Williams and took over the #1 duties for this offense. And when you talk about a guy that can catch the ball over the middle, super competitive, touch in terms of being able to make plays in traffic, and then when it comes down to the polish and being able to finish, he does that. When I look at him, I think of some of the old tough receivers that have played in Pittsburgh for a long time, whether it's Hines Ward, Antoine Randall, and others. He falls into that category. Pittsburgh has always been able to find receivers outside the first round. He's another one that could be a nice steal for them.
Really smooth, a smooth strider. He's very easy and balanced, getting in and out of his breaks. Everything you see about him is buttery smooth. I think the area he needs to improve upon is really competing hard for catch space and then becoming more physical. NFL corners, you know, what happens when you get to the NFL is you don't have all this space anymore. All of a sudden, everything feels more condensed, and they put hands on you quick. And so you got to fight back, not just off press, but inside your route. He's going to have to become a little bit more physical.
With the 48th pick in the 2026 NFL Draft, the Atlanta Falcons select from the bloodline, Terrell, DB, Clemson.
Very cool here. Now, a lot of times, and Buck, you can probably speak to this. You know, the rooks sometimes need to go and pick up that check. But when older brother AJ signs a 4-year, $81 million deal, I'm like, yo, bro, you got this one.
Oh, no, it's not about that. We can put you in the back room. We can save some of this generational wealth. We can make sure. Ain't no need for you to run out and get your own apartment or whatever. I love this because Terrell reminds me so much of Marlon Humphrey in terms of his game. High IQ, great instincts and awareness, has a knack for getting the ball out, produced 11 turnovers. To be able to play with his older brother in the A, you have to like this. He's a natural slot receiver, a slot defender. You can put him in nickel, his big brother on the outside, being able to coach him up. So whatever the coaches are trying to say, just know at the dinner table at night, he's going to get it twofold. I just like this fit. I like the selection. He is an outstanding player. I thought he was a top 25 pick.
Never loses his leverage.
But just really good.
You can tell that he comes from a football family because he's so technically sound. He fights against giving up his leverage, stays low in his back pedal, his hip flip is smooth when he wants to run. The only reason he fell here, and the only reason, is because he was a little beat up and banged up, wasn't able to run and work out. Then when he finally got trained up and was ready to run, his agent told the team he ended up running a 4.65. And I said, well, that's the end of the first round.
Oh, it's a wrap.
But the agent is David Mulgeta, and he said, look, you think I would have let him run if he was going to run this? He was training faster, and I believe him. I believe him because there was no reason to let him run if you thought he was running slow. On tape, he's plenty fast. Mm-hmm. On tape, he is just a really competitive player who is very smooth with his man-to-man coverage. He can play outside if you need him to. I think he's a natural-born nickel corner. I love Terrell. This is a first-round talent who fell for reasons other than football. The Falcons benefited.
Now with the 50th pick of the 2026 NFL Draft, the New York Jets select D'Angelo Pons, DB from Indiana.
So for a team that didn't have one interception last year, they're trying to help themselves out. We got an option here in the secondary with the corner in Pons, who's one of my favorites because he's 5'8" and change.
Yeah, I don't know if you remember, if you're old enough to remember watching Aaron Glenn play. Living in Houston, a former Jet, Aaron Glenn, of course. And then he was part of the expansion draft, and he went to the Houston Texans, and I got to watch AG. I mean, this kid plays like Aaron Glenn. He's undersized, played outside. He thinks he's 230 pounds and 6'4". That's how he plays the game. You see that, the way he tackles. The biggest chip on his shoulder you could possibly imagine coming from James Madison. Knew he was better than James Madison. Leveled up, won a national championship, and was the most impactful defensive player they had on their entire roster. And he thinks he can still stay outside and play. He's under 5'10". I mean, he's going to play inside. But this competitiveness, the ball skills, his ability to have an impact against the run and to fight, it's a really big deal because to play nickel now in the NFL, you have to be able to defend the run, Bucky, and he doesn't shy away at all. In fact, he's a plus despite being smaller.
Yeah, I mean, he's a scheme-friendly fit. He can line up and everybody.
Look at it.
Oh, what are we doing? Just willing to take on anybody, anywhere. That's the way to show up. We are not doing it, and he strapped him. Let him go.
Now with the 50th pick of the 2026 NFL Draft, the New York Jets select D'Angelo Pons, DB from Indiana.
So for a team that didn't have one interception last year, they're trying to help themselves out. We got an option here in the secondary with the corner in Pons, who's one of my favorites because he's 5'8" and change.
Yeah, I don't know if you remember, if you're old enough to remember watching Aaron Glenn play, living in Houston, a former Jet, Aaron Glenn, of course, and then he was part of the expansion draft, and he went to the Houston Texans, and I got to watch AG. I mean, this kid plays like Aaron Glenn. He's undersized, played outside. He thinks he's 230 pounds and 6'4". That's how he plays the game. You see that, the way he tackles. The biggest chip on his shoulder you could possibly imagine coming from James Madison. Knew he was better than James Madison. Leveled up, won a national championship, and was the most impactful defensive player they had on their entire roster. And he thinks he can still stay outside and play. He's under 5'10". I mean, he's going to play inside. But this competitiveness, the ball skills, his ability to have an impact against the run and to fight, it's a really big deal because to play nickel now in the NFL, you have to be able to defend the run, Bucky, and he doesn't shy away at all. In fact, he's a plus despite being smaller.
Yeah, I mean, he's a scheme-friendly fit. He can line up and everybody.
Look at it.
Oh, what are we doing? Just willing to take on anybody, anywhere. That's the way to show up. We are not doing it, and he strapped him. Let him go. Look, natural nickel corner. He reminds actually a lot of Kenny Moore, who's been a high-level player at nickel for the Indianapolis Colts. And when I think about what he brings, it's not only the feistiness and the IQ, but it's just being able to do anything. Man, zone, off, press. He can do it all. Yeah. Nice fit for the New York Jets.
Skol Vikes. With the 51st pick in the 2026 NFL Draft, the Minnesota Vikings select Jake Golday, linebacker, Cincinnati. Welcome, brother.
Yeah, Jake Golday's kind of a fun player, kind of a difficult. It was a little more challenging evaluation for him because they played him outside so much as an outside linebacker, as a 3-4 outside linebacker or stack linebacker, and then they also played him sometime in the nickel, like played out in the slot. And then when they let him come inside and play a true off-ball linebacker position, it was like, oh, whoa, wait a minute, this guy's pretty serious. Jake is almost 6'5". 236 pounds. He's very rangy, has good speed, good play speed, very good change of direction, and he's just a see ball, get ball player. One of the things that really stands out is he's not only a block attacker, but he's just got effective use of his hands. It's not just all about how hard you hit the block. It's how talented and efficient are your hands to navigate that block. And that's something I think he does really well. One of the reasons I think moving full-time inside is not going to be a problem for him.
Versatility. Remember, they've had a lot of success with guys playing around. Brian Flores doesn't mind moving the chess pieces around to create pressure. Did it with Andrew Van Ginkel. Look for Jake Golday to get back to doing some of his edge rushing stuff in Minnesota, too.
It is my esteemed pleasure to make this second-round pick on behalf of Ed Policy, Brian Gutekunst, Matt LaFleur, and the millions of Packer fans across the world. With the 52nd pick in the 2026 NFL Draft, the Green Bay Packers select Brandon Cisse, defensive back, South Carolina.
Now this is like an old-school Packer cornerback, right? Tall, long, can press, can get physical. It used to be when you had the old Ron Wolf, right? The old Ron Wolf corners, you were there, that you had a certain type, and they didn't like to stray from the type. And Brandon Cisse is kind of that type. I think there's still some work to be done from a technique standpoint. Yeah. Get a little sloppy, but all the ingredients are there. You just have to really get coached up. It may take a year, may take a couple of years, but the potential's there. But, this is where the coaching's going to come into.
Yeah, the coach's going to come in. And so, look, he's a little upset, obviously, because he thought maybe he would be a first-round pick.
You had him mocked that way.
He's drafted in the second round. But I will say this. You talked about him being a little quirky with his technique. He is unorthodox, but reminds me a lot of Josh Norman. When Josh Norman played at an all-pro level. You think about his hands, his foot quickness, the ability to get his hands on the ball. He does all those things. And as he grows into his game at the next level, Green Bay's a nice fit for him. He's going to have a chance to make a lot of plays. And remember, Jonathan Gannon takes over this defense. He likes a different style cornerback, someone that can find a way to make the plays on the ball.
They said yins are getting soft, yins are getting tired. Are you yinzers getting exhausted from so much football celebration or no? 0 arrests last night in the NFL draft compound. Pittsburgh Yinzers, congratulations. Now, the Indianapolis Colts first-round draft pick was Sauce Gardner, and he's better than all of your first-round picks for sure. The Indianapolis Colts have not won the AFC South in 12 years. That changes this year. Jim Irsay from the football heavens cured Daniel Jones's torn Achilles. Michael Pittman got sent to the Steelers, and in return, we got football gods. With the 53rd pick in the 2026 NFL Draft, the AFC South Kings, Indianapolis Colts select C.J. Allen, linebacker from Georgia. Go Dogs!
All right, so it's time to update that number. I made reference to 20 picks, make it now 21 picks on day number 2. 17 of them, guys, on the defensive side of the ball. C.J. Allen, another Georgia name that we're going to be talking about. The fit for the Colts, we like it?
Yeah, one thing is Chris Ballard's done a pretty good job of drafting linebackers who become really productive. C.J. Allen is a leader. He's a player who they rave about at Georgia because he's always in the right place, right time, gets defenses lined up. He's a captain is what he is. Now, when I watched him, I didn't see the same impact that I saw from some of the other linebackers that were out there, but I also saw a really high floor. Like, you just don't see him in the wrong place a lot. He knows where he's supposed to be. That's where he is. And sometimes, it doesn't always have to be about being flash. It just has to be about doing your job, game in and game out, play in and play out. And I think that's something that stands out with C.J. Allen. He's not flashy. He's not hyper-productive, but he's very detail-oriented and assignment-oriented.
Yeah, detail-oriented, physical player, throwback. When you talk about coming downhill for the Indianapolis Colts, who have to remember, they got to match the physicality within the division of the AFC South. We talked about Houston, we talked about Tennessee, and now the Jacksonville Jaguars. Indianapolis was next up. They needed to make sure that their defense could play a little rough and rugged form of football.
With the 54th pick of the 2026 NFL Draft, the two-time champions and reigning NFC East champions, Philadelphia Eagles select Eli Stowers, tight end from Vanderbilt University.
So what's interesting here is we've talked about the tight end class during our mock draft live shows as not being weak or not being strong. We only had one in the first round, but Buck, when I look at your positional rankings, Stowers for you was 4th on your tight end list.
Yeah, so it's funny. Like, it's there on the tombstone where he has him as a big jumbo slot receiver. How are teams going to treat Eli Stowers? Some of the fascination with him is the ability to create mismatches in space because he is such a natural route runner and playmaker down the middle of the field. You put him out wide and maybe you can get linebackers in space and use his athleticism to an advantage. But if he doesn't block well enough, teams are just going to put nickel or dime on the field and they're going to go with the DB on him and it negates the advantage. He must improve in the blocking game to be an effective route runner and pass catcher as they're trying to create these mismatches.
Yeah, he is. I mean, this is an explosive athlete. 45-inch vertical leap, 11.3 broad jump. He's a former quarterback who moved over to tight end. He is a mismatch player, and when he flashes, it's impressive. The one thing he has to do, though, is always play fast. And you have to play fast or your speed mismatch is not the speed mismatch. You can create bigger windows when you keep the foot on the gas with your play speed. That's all coaching. That'll be worked on as soon as he gets in camp.
With the 55th pick in the 2026 NFL Draft, the New England Patriots select Gabe Jacas, linebacker, Illinois.
Gabe Jacas, I like him. He's big, he's rugged, 260 pounds, extremely strong. He treats tight ends very shabbily, very poorly. So if you want to try to block him with a tight end, it's going to end that's going to be a TKO very, very quickly. The way he plays, my comp on him is Matthew Judon. That should tell you a little bit of something about his demeanor, his play demeanor. He's not the rusher that Matt Judon was even coming out. That's something he needs to work on, kind of a little bit predictable. But the thing is, he doesn't ride on blocks. Like, he's not just going to give you a free lunch. If you're blocking him right now, he's going to ramp up secondary effort, work his way around you, and get to either the quarterback or the ball carrier. So you have to make block finishing a priority against him because he just will not stop. And at the point of attack, it's hard to beat him one-on-one soundly. It really is. So I like this pick for New England. It feels like an old school edge type of New England pick too. He can play hand down Bucky, he can play standing.
Yeah, one of the things that scouts and evaluators like guys that have multiple sport things in the background. And one thing that I know Mike Vrabel likes, guys that can wrestle. So Gabe Jacas was a guy that can wrestle. He can get after it. He doesn't mind rubbing you and putting your face in the mat and kind of drumming you a little bit. A little chicken wing as he made him. I mean, this guy has some toughness. One of the things we talk about with wrestlers, leverage, toughness, competitiveness. He has all that. So he ain't going to be afraid to deal with the smoke when it gets to it.
State champion wrestler coming out of high school as a 3-star recruit, and here we are, day 2 of the NFL Draft.
With the 56th pick in the 2026 NFL Draft, the Jacksonville Jaguars select Nate Borcature.
Wow.
Tight end, Texas A&M.
Good for Nate.
Good is right, because I'm looking at the top 5 positional rankings for tight end for a buck. He didn't crack your top 5 either, so.
Well, but here's the thing, though. If you're looking for production in the passing game, he's not going to hit your list because he just didn't have a lot of production. Where he stands out, though, and where I loved him watching tape, one of the things that sold me on Nate was the way he battled Ruben Bain. When they played against Miami, he was ready for the fight. He is a Nebraska boy, came over from Nebraska, transferred over to Texas A&M, has a tremendous amount of confidence and swagger, and he is just a very physical, old-school tight end. Not only can he block defensive ends or give them a good fight, he's got way better hands than you're expecting. He's the one that had the game-winning catch against Notre Dame in Week 2, where he made that play on the one-on-one play up in the air. And I think he's going to be a better pass catcher than we've seen on the collegiate level. He's not a bad athlete. He's got sticky hands, and the best is yet to come. This is. I'm surprised he got drafted this early. When I watched him on tape, and I still remember where I was when I watched him, because I thought, man, this guy's way better than I expected.
Where's those Bear fans at? I'm liking those cheese grater hats, my man. Grate that cheese right up. I love it. With the 57th pick in the 2026 NFL Draft, the Chicago Bears select Logan Jones, center, Iowa.
I mean, I had a scout tell me he plays the game, he looks and plays the game like a man who has a mortgage and 3 kids. and his whole point was he is just serious business on the field. And that is fun. He'll trash talk defenders. I saw him pancake a guy 2 different times. The first time he put it up 1, the second time he goes, that's the second time I got you. And he's an inside-outside zone scheme center for the Joe Moore Award-winning Iowa Hawkeye offensive line. This is an offensive line connoisseur's dream watching him play. He is so good at getting to his landmarks, very efficient steps, very efficient with his hands, and what he does is it's zone scheme. That's what he is and who he is. But he is, I think, probably the most talented center. He's just a little bit smaller than some of the other centers in this draft. That was the only knock on him.
Technically sound. You see these guys do it all the time from Iowa. You think about what Tyler Lindenbaum and some of the others that have manned that position have been able to do. He will go on and have a lot of success. And there's no one better in terms of being able to play in a zone scheme. Because at Iowa, it is the business. That's what they do. That's what they specialize in. Their guys play well in there.
With the 58th pick in the 2026 NFL Draft, the Cleveland Browns select Emmanuel McNeil-Warren, DB Toledo.
So we've been waiting on this one. Buck, Lance, first round mock drafts, 21st for you, Buck, 25 for you, Lance. I feel like you name-checked him about 20 minutes ago. We were wondering, when's this dude going to come off the board?
Yeah, man, this is the thing. When you go back and you look at your notes, and here's why, because we do so many mock drafts, sometimes it can get confused. I look at my notes, I have a middle of the second round grade based on how he plays and performs. He's going to be a first-day starter when he goes and steps in the building in Cleveland. Physical presence in the middle of the field. This is a guy that can play everyone in the triangle. He understands how to get the ball out. Instincts, awareness, obsession with knocking it loose, and finds a way to get it done time after time after time. Whether it's punching it out, whether it's taking it away from playing in the deep half, he does it all of the time. And even though he didn't go as high, and I think sometimes people can question, like, hey, this is a guy that's going from the MAC to playing with the big boys. How quickly is the transition going to be? Might have hurt him some, but he lands in a perfect spot because when you play behind an outstanding pass rusher, Myles Garrett, you're going to have an opportunity to make plays on tips and overthrows, and he's shown the ability to be able to do that.
Last time the commissioner took my opportunity to talk, so I definitely have to say hello to my two children, Jaden and Celeste. Give a shout out to the Care League. Last and not least, Bushwood Elite and the Winning Edge. This is special for me because I know this kid personally, which is ironic. With the 59th pick for the Houston Texans, they select Marlon Klein, tight end, University of Michigan.
Well, the streets had commented, I guess about a month ago, that Klein was a guy the Texans liked, and I thought, well, all right, late in the third round maybe. But this draft is just way different. You know, you get Logan Jones going in the second round, you get Marlon Klein going in the second. Teams just want to get their best football players, and they're not worried about what other people consider round values, because Marlon Klein is a player that the Texans, there's something about him that they really, really like. Now, he came over, he's from Germany. He came over to Atlanta and played high school ball in Atlanta. And, was really a late comer to the sport. But he is a talented athlete. He's long-limbed. He's a little different body type, as you see right there, kind of high cut. I think there's still some work to do as a blocker. But the Texans are likely going to see him as an upside player who they can start to lean on in a couple of years. I thought they might go with more of a wide tight end, a pure blocker. But you can't play at Michigan without being a little bit of a blocker. Like if you're a tight end, you're going to have to block some if you come there. So he's got some blocking, just still some work to do for Klein. But Marlon Klein, now the fourth tight end off the board.
With the 60th pick in the 2026 NFL Draft, the Tennessee Titans select Anthony Hill Jr., linebacker, Texas.
All right, time for Sleeper Picks presented by Mattress Firm. So they are actually, Buck, helping out their defense here with the kid from Texas.
Hey, how about that? We talked about them potentially maybe doing it with Sonny Styles in the first round. They come later and get Anthony Hill. And here's the thing about Anthony Hill. He has a lot of elite traits, and it's one of those things that he kind of went through the process and people didn't talk about him enough. 17 career sacks at Texas. He's a guy that can do it in a few different ways, has some nastiness to his game, can run around and chase, can play man or zone in coverage. Really complete player, thoroughbred, and in fact, there was conversation about him potentially being a first-round pick at parts of this process, particularly coming off of the combine where he ran really fast.
Yeah, I'm really high. I gave him a 6.40, which is a first-round caliber grade, back half of the first, early second. But I couldn't find league people who loved him as much as I did. Mm-hmm. I'm just going to say it. I think they might end up being wrong on Anthony Hill. I think I may end up being right, Buck.
Oh.
We're going to find out.
With the 61st pick in the 2026 NFL Draft, the LA Rams select Max Klare, tight end from Ohio State, baby.
All right, look, I was looking at your positional rankings, second tight end for you, Buck. I just want to throw this out there. Kenyon Sadiq, that you could have had him yesterday.
Could have had him, but now who's to say that Max Klare is not better? I'm going to say this.
Look at you, Mr. Positivity.
How many seats do they have in that tight end room? They have Jefferson, they got Kobe Parkinson, they got like 50 other dudes. Tyler Higbee, then you go and get Max Klare. Now, I will say this. I am a huge fan of Max Klare because he is a pass-catching specialist. Soft hands, natural when it comes to plucking. You're going to see him in these Ohio State highlights, but you go back to the Purdue days, he is finding a way to consistently get open and get it done. When I think about what the Rams did, because remember, they opened up a can of worms with 13 personnel.
A ton of that.
One receiver, 3 wide, 3 tight ends on the field. Look for them to just expand it. I mean, who knows how many guys they can put on the field now with all these tight ends they have in the room.
Yeah, he was just much more productive at Purdue, and it's tough when you've got Jeremiah Smith and you've got Carnell Tate. I mean,
you eat up all the touches.
They eat up all the touches, and so he went to a school where he wanted to go play and show out, but the problem is you're just not going to get the same production.
It is yet another trade, the 4th so far through the first 2 days of the NFL draft. 3 of them yesterday were to move back. This one is moving up with the Broncos. Denver, keep in mind, no picks now in round 1 or 2. So clearly there's some strategy here. And just as a reminder, earlier today, because they had no picks in round number 1, with the 35th overall pick, it was T.J. Parker, the linebacker out of Clemson, who the Buffalo Bills decided to go and draft. Meanwhile, there's been some speculation about a little more firepower maybe around Josh Allen. We find out what Bills Mafia will be cheering for in just moments.
We had to take advantage of the opportunity to come up here with a legend, Penn State and Buffalo. With the 62nd pick in the 2026 NFL Draft, the Buffalo Bills select
David Igmanosen, DB, Ohio State.
You want to talk the pick, or you got a bone to pick here, Buck?
No. We'll talk the pick. I mean, I'm just.
Was there a problem with the announcer?
Guys over here need to figure out who their squad.
I mean, Paz Leslie was a Jaguar, wasn't he?
Look, up there, we'll leave Paz alone, but we'll say the Ohio State standout is exactly what the Buffalo Bills tend to want on the outside. This is a guy that is tall, rangy, he's feisty, really good tackler on the perimeter. And when we think about the game, it is about being able to make tackles in space. Jim Liner taking over. They're going to mix in some zone and some man, so you got to have great eyes. I had down bump and run, Tampa 2 corner, question the speed, and the back pedal because he's a bit of a guesser, but they can clean those things up.
With the 63rd pick in the 2026 NFL Draft, the Los Angeles Chargers select Jake Slaughter, guard, Florida.
I think it's interesting they called him a guard because he was a center at Florida. So maybe that's I don't know if it's maybe and the Chargers need guards, so they may have drafted him to be a guard. It's a new offense. You're going to have, with Mike McDaniel in the building, you're going to have a lot more zone scheme stuff. So Jake is going to get out there and move. This is a multi-time All-SEC center. He is a player who has faced off against some really good competition.
With the 64th pick in the 2026 NFL Draft, the world champs Seattle Seahawks select Bud Clark, DB, TCU.
There's that safety, safety run that could be coming now as well. Bud Clark is the ball hawk. I mean, he makes so many plays in the secondary. This is really just a matter of, can you keep Bud Clark healthy? He's had 3 different seasons where he's missed multiple games. You see kind of a lean lower body, but he's a very natural ball defender because his ball skills, he locates the football quickly, as you'll see in all these. He has great instincts. He has good feel for route breaks. And then once he gets there, that's a tremendous takeaway there. He's just got the ability to make a play on the football in tight quarters. And sometimes you think it's just luck, but it's not luck. I mean, it's a skill, and he's got it.
He also has the versatility. You think about what Mike McDonald has done with this defense, the way they've constructed with a bunch of hybrids in the back end. Bud Clark's ability to play in the slot, to play in the deep half, will give them some more versatility and allow them to be even more creative going into the season.